What do you do as a photographer if a client requests that you take out your model release clause? They want their photos to remain private. Well, there's multiple ways to deal with this, and I'm getting into it in today's video. Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Paige Griffith. I am the CEO and lead attorney behind The Legal Page. We are an online legal education platform and contract shop for small businesses. We help you get legally legit in no time without all the overwhelm. So say you have a client or clients, which is who you want to sign a wedding photography contract, that are interested in working with you, but they both don't want their photos to be published online or on social media. Maybe they're willing to pay a non-disclosure fee, or maybe they're just asking what you're willing to do for them. This has honestly been a growing concern amongst photography clients over the past few years. All photographers, though, handle it a little bit differently, depending on the need for those images for their own marketing and advertising. But first, legally, let's talk about what a model release is. A model release is either a singular clause in your client contract or a separate legal document signed by your client or clients that give the business owner and you as the photographer permission to use those images for marketing and advertising purposes. A model release, though, needs to be very specific about how and where those images and photos can be used. If a business owner uses the images in a context that is outside the boundaries stated in their model release, then that business owner may run into legal issues with their client. My take as a contract lawyer who supports and encourages photographers like you to run profitable and legal businesses is that you should always try to get your clients to sign a model release, and really an all-inclusive one if you can do so in your photography contract. A model release would then give you the ability to use those images in any public setting. For example, you may want to use those images at a bridal convention to attract additional clients. This is a great way to promote your business and build your clientele. Further, it provides you legal protection if the client later on says that they don't want their photo public and they didn't want it shared at conventions like this, or they claim that they never agreed to that specific instance. Oftentimes, clients will change their mind and will try to say that you do not have the permission to use their photos in XYZ circumstance. When that occurs, you can then refer the client back to the signed agreement and that model release clause to avoid any serious legal issues. Even if you choose not to use the images, it's really better to have this all-inclusive model release signed for that extra safety net. Now, I keep saying all-inclusive model release clause. This just means that you as the photographer can use it for any and all marketing and advertising purposes. You can send it to third parties, that your clients really are just giving you the full sweep of you being able to use their likeness in those images for all marketing and advertising. But what if your client does not want to sign a model release, or they just don't like that clause in your contract at the time of booking? At the end of the day, you cannot force your client to sign anything that they're uncomfortable with. The client may have many reasons as to why they do not want their photos publicly posted, and it's your responsibility to respect that as a photographer. For instance, clients who are celebrities, influencers, or government officials are often very concerned about maintaining their privacy, and they may not agree to that traditional all-inclusive model release. But the biggest issue we see on the photographer side is that having a signed model release is really built into your overall package price, right? Meaning that if you are not able to use the images, then you're left with fewer photos to use for your own marketing and advertising. With that being said, you really have a few options as the business owner. First, you can modify that model release clause, and you can do so without a fee. This option would become a privacy of images clause. Some people may call this a non-disclosure clause, but because of the way that I draft photography contracts, I always urge people to be super clear in the headings and clauses. So they want to see you're keeping their images private. Privacy of images should be the clause heading. Then the language in there would say that you agree to either complete confidentiality of the photos with the exception of anything that you and the client have agreed to in writing. A privacy of images clause really gives your clients that peace of mind, knowing that their images will remain private and that you won't share them with any third party or vendors if this is at a wedding, and you won't use those photos for marketing purposes. You can change this language a little little bit in our privacy of images clause. That's an a la carte clause. It's linked below this video, has various options. So it could kind of be all inclusive. They don't want any of their images used. Maybe they will allow you to use images without faces in them, or maybe they want to select like 5 to 10 images that they're okay with you using. Really, there's all three options here, and you just want to talk to your clients about what they're most comfortable with. It may be prudent to choose to enter into this kind of privacy clause without an additional fee in order to simply respect the client's wishes and to really just build your customer satisfaction. But the other option is to modify your model release clause with a fee, and you can absolutely do so as a photographer. Don't let people say that you can't. This is a way to reimburse your business from the lost advertisement opportunity that would have occurred if you were able to use that client's photos in a public manner. A common example where a fee is attached to a privacy of images clause and likely an additional NDA is when working with celebrities, because celebrities will pay photographers for complete privacy, and they will also pay for exclusive rights to the copyrights of those photographs and images so that they can choose where their images are displayed, and oftentimes they make royalties on top of that. So usually that's like a huge hefty fee that they would pay photographers for. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew that that situation was absolutely possible. And it's not just possible with celebrities, it's possible with other clients as well. So don't fall into the trap that this always has to be kind of a free complimentary exchange. I would say for most lay people that you might want to take that approach. But again, you do you, my friend. You are the photographer and the owner of your own business. If you are charging amount, what should the fee be? The fee should be an appropriate amount to encourage your clients into signing a model release and appropriately compensate you for the loss of copyright ownership if you were to transfer those over to, say, like complete assignment to the client. And you also want to take into consideration the total amount of your package and what they are booking from you. So usually photographers do around like 10 to 25% of a total fee as a restriction on a model release. And then, as I touched on previously, I want you to customize the model release to fit your client's requirements. Every client is going to have different needs. You are always able to make a limited use agreement with your client, and this would include those guidelines such as only using the photos in your printed portfolio or only on your website, and they just don't want those photos on social media. So if you take this route, make sure you clearly explain under the privacy of images clause what is the customized model release, so there's no confusion about how the photos may be used and their likeness in those photos. And the last option is to always require a model release. You as the business owner, you have the right to implement any policies that you want to. And this means that you do not have to enter into any photography agreement without a signed model release. So if it's your policy to have a signed model release in order to shoot, you should regularly implement that policy. Clients should be aware of this as soon as possible, and that this is a firm policy held by your company so that everyone is on the same page here. My take as a photographer and a lawyer, when it comes to a model release or the comfortability of your client, that should usually take precedent. You should typically side with your client. You don't want to make the client feel uncomfortable by trying to convince them to sign a model release if they don't want to. And in my opinion, your client's happiness should outweigh the importance of using the photos for other purposes. Again, however, you are always within your right to charge a privacy fee or never shoot without a model release, and that's your own preference and prerogative. You have control and need to do what's best for your business. It's just my opinion. All legal page full-length photography contracts come with comprehensive model release clauses, but if you need a model release form for your business and you have different contracts, we do have those for, say, large family shoots or other sessions that you may need it for, or if you just don't think you have a good enough model release clause in your contract. Have them sign an additional model release form. And if you're needing to switch out that model release clause for a privacy of images clause, we have created that a la carte. It's linked below. I've said that a bunch of times, but I just want to make sure that you know that that is an option. It's a great way to easily copy and paste language into your existing contract to adhere to your client's privacy concerns with ease and professionalism. And if you're interested from hearing more from me about contracts, that is my expertise, and I want to share with you my 3 best client contract secrets and 4 things I want you to do right now with your client contract that will better protect your small business. So head over to my free legal class at contractclass.com. Thanks so much for listening to this video. I wish you the best with your photography business, and I will catch you in the next one.